This is George Dionne with Metal Express Radio, and I'm here with Eric Jayk from the band Wildstreet. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Besides the heat that we both discussed was just terrible a few minutes ago. If I knew absolutely nothing about Wildstreet, how would you describe the band's music to me?
We are Wildstreet. we're New York City rock and roll. We're a melting pot of different things. But bottom line is we just rock.
Absolutely. And your new album 3 just came out on Golden Robot Records. Actually, it just came out on June 25th, Golden Robot Records. Have you had this album kind of in the can since before the pandemic and was holding off on it until everything cleared up?
Well, sort of. It sort of happened that way unintentionally, but it worked out for the best. We started releasing this record in August of 2019. We released Tennessee Cocaine. Like we released Raise Hell as a single before then, but Tennessee Cocaine, Three-Way Ride, Set It Off, all the other songs besides Raise Hell were recorded as an album, right? So like, we went and did the drums and then we did the overdubs, et cetera, et cetera. So, I would say that Tennessee Cocaine is like the first, like the start of the release of the record. So the album was done even before then. The album was done in May 2019, right? And so we planned on releasing like some singles and then eventually, find a label and who's, who could help us get our music out to a larger level. And and then we would release the album, at the right time. The pandemic slowed it down a little bit, but it also led us to Golden Robot Records, which has been cool. So things work out for a reason,
Yeah, and I think that with the singles release, you're kind of giving people a taste and you're kind of building in anticipation to something bigger. I mean, you pretty much released a single for every song but Midnight Children, I believe. So let's talk about Midnight Children and how that is kind of the one you held back on.
Well, it was the one that was left. Midnight Children, okay, so the song is awesome. I have, me and Jimmy wrote this song. Jimmy is my guitar player. He and I started the band in 2006. We wrote this song, and it was kind of a trip writing it. It was like we were listening to a lot of Dio and a lot of Judas Priest, and we were just kind of writing it just for fun, and so I have this image of Midnight Children, and it's not actually how it sounds like. It's just what it was like back in 2011 or 2010 when we started writing it. You know what I mean? Basically the Midnight Children was written in the old days, but Mother and Set It Off were the last two songs written for Wildstreet 3, and that's why they were intentionally the last two singles that we released. And so, and they're two very different songs. Like Set It Off has a funky element, and Mother is a dark metal song, So as you can see, we're a melting pot of influences. But we wanted to, we intentionally timed the songs that we wrote closer to the time that we finished the record intentionally, because then fans would get a sense of who we are now instead of who we were back, when some of the older songs were written.
Well, I think a lot of the press and stuff labels you as glam, but I heard a lot more than just glam in a lot of these songs. I heard a little punk rock in there, general rock and roll. But I think with the song Mother, you kind of took it to a different level. You really went outside the box of the other 7 songs. I kind of thought a little Alice Cooper tale there. Is that where you eventually want to take the band, or you just want to continue being a band that doesn't confine itself to one thing?
I want to do whatever we want to do at the time. We all have different influences. We have some that are similar, and everybody in the band likes certain bands, but it's fun to be different characters and to be, to kind of like, the one thing I can say is you cannot deny that if you put Mother and let's say something that sounds completely different from it, like I don't know, Still Love You, it still sounds like Wildstreet. Both songs sound like Wildstreet. So then, who cares whether one song's metal or one song's rock and roll? You know what I mean? It's still Wildstreet.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. Because your voice kind of carries through no matter which style that you're doing. I think you have a unique voice, I would say. Let's talk a little bit about Tennessee Cocaine, based on a real experience.
Tennessee Cocaine. It's a song about the best night of your life, the best party you ever had, the best high you ever had. That's also one of the last songs that we wrote for the record. And truthfully, the first demo, I had this idea for Tennessee Cocaine. Oh, it's such a great idea. Like, who would think Tennessee Cocaine? Perfect. and so I wrote this song, and it was kind of like nu metal almost. It was like really modern sounding and just not right. And then I put on Livewire by AC/DC, right? And like the eighth note bass at the beginning, right? And I was like, man, I think this is where we should take the song. And so Jimmy came over and we redid the musical arrangement in an afternoon. And then eventually the song came together and whatever. But the song's fun. It's fun. It's fun to play live. It's fun to I like listening to it. If I'm like, because we have 5 Spotify playlists. So sometimes I can't decide what to listen to at the gym, and so I put on Wildstreet playlist. And Tennessee Cocaine comes on, I'm running on the treadmill faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, you said that Tennessee Cocaine was about the best night of your life, but I thought for sure a 3-Way Ride would be the best night of your life.
No, second best.
The album comes in several formats: digital, streaming, physical CD copies. You get a bunch of different bundles on your website. You're doing the vinyl thing. Are you a fan of vinyl yourself?
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I don't own a record player, but I'm a fan of vinyl.
And that's the problem with vinyl, is that they push the vinyls, but they don't push the record players, and trying to find a good one is tough.
Yeah. Like, it's like, do I really want to take the risk of buying a cheap record player on eBay just to maybe play this one record? And I'm like, I'll stick to Spotify for now.
It is easier, more convenient. I agree. It's been 10 years since you guys released the 2 albums. So I wanted to ask, was there something that got in the way of getting on to a second album? Was you busy with touring? Was there issues with the band?
Well, there's a lot of things. Like, yes, the band went on hiatus because, let's face it, we're all musicians. We have other interests, and we're also people. We have other things that maybe take priority at that time, But as I sort of hinted at before, some of the songs were written in 2010, 2011. Some songs were written in 2014. Some were written in 2018. So it's like, I think every song on our album is good, and we would rather put out 8 great songs than like filler or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that's not the question. But yes, there were a lot of different things. We didn't have I don't think that we could have made Wildstreet 3 with the band the way it was. Jimmy wasn't even in the band then. He quit in 2010 because he was playing in a rock opera, and he wrote this rock opera, and he was playing it, and it was awesome. He was on like the front of the arts section in New York Times. It was so cool. But he took a break from Wildstreet, and Wildstreet continued, and that's when we did like Easy Does It and Poison Kiss and that whole period. And but it he's been in the band since the beginning. So we probably wouldn't have made Wildstreet 3. We definitely wouldn't have made a very good Wildstreet 3 without him. So,
right.
So yeah, it comes Not now was the right time.
Now, you guys typically were releasing your music yourself, and you got this record deal with Golden Robot Records. So how did you get that relationship with Golden Robot?
Well, okay. So, man, pandemic times were a little crazy, and so like being stuck in my 2-room apartment all the time was kind of crazy. So I bought myself a bicycle, right? And so I would ride my bicycle all around Brooklyn every morning after I did yoga, right? And I was I was listening to Spotify hard rock, and and I saw this band on Spotify hard rock. And I was like, man, this song's good. And it was like, and it turns out to be Shotgun Mistress, right? And so I was like, what label are they? I'm doing Instagram homework, Instagram research, and I'm like, oh, they're on Golden Robot Records. And then so I kept that in the back of my mind. And then I was asked to sing on my friend Brandon's. Brandon Fields in Minefield. He asked me to sing on one of his songs on his album. And he's like, yeah, I'm working with Golden Robot Records. And I was like, oh, that's twice in 1 week. So what I did is I wrote to Mark and I sent him our album and I said, hey, are you interested? Or something like it wasn't like a long-winded email with, hey, will you sign my band? So it was just like, hey, check it out. If you like it, cool. And he wrote me back and he said, yeah, I'm going to listen to it this weekend and, and dive in. And then, and I'll let you know. And so like 24 hours later, I got a message back from him and he said, yeah, let's talk on Monday. I'm interested. And so we had one Zoom call and he sent me the contract, which was the fairest, most artist-friendly contract ever. He wasn't asking publishing. He wasn't doing all the things that every indie label does that's not so cool. And the contract was done in like a week and a half or something. So and so that's the story.
The rest is history, as they say. You guys are going to be heading out to support the album. I see that you've actually done a show already. You're calling your tour the Kings of the World Tour. It starts on 7/7 officially. You must be excited about getting back out there.
Well, yeah, we started playing live in February. Again, and we played at this place in Delaware, Bar 13. And at the time, they had like plexiglass in front of the stage. So if you go on like any of the social networks, you'll see our friend Andrea was at the show, and she does like these live videos. While we're playing, she puts it on our fan page or whatever. And so like you can see that there's like plexiglass in front of us. It's so funny. But yeah, we toured in April in the Midwest, and then we toured in June down in the Southeast. And so this is the main tour. We're touring with this band called The Rumors. And this tour was supposed to happen last July. And the story is last July came and my bass player had already packed up his bass cabinet and bass rig in our van. We were about to go. And then I had an interview with Billboard magazine about touring during the pandemic. And then I started to get like kind of worried about this. And so we didn't go. But it's the same tour. It's a month-long tour of the U.S. We go through the Midwest to Rockfest, down to Texas and the Southeast, and then back up the other way to New York.
On the first stop, you're playing with the all-metal tribute to the Bee Gees, so that'll be a trip, right?
Yeah. Actually, we played with them quite a few times. We played with them a lot, 2011, 2012. And what's funny is the 2 shows or 3 shows that we played with them were all at bowling alleys, actually. There was that Brooklyn Bowl and Asbury Lanes. Those are the 2 I remember anyway.
That sounds awesome. You've also toured with the likes of Twisted Sister and LA Guns and Kix. Have you got to meet those guys, get to hang out with those guys, or is it just pretty much a business thing?
With Kix, yeah, we they were really, really nice to us back in 2009. LA Guns, I think I played with every single incarnation of LA Guns ever. And they're all great. I like all of them. Yeah, so whatever. Everybody's nice. Like the thing about rock people is like, we all just want to rock. So, so people, as long as you're not too shy, which I used to be really shy. I used to be like, oh, I don't know if I could talk to this person. But then you stop being shy and you just talk to everybody.
Absolutely. You realize they're just like you.
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of downtime since you pretty much put this album together. Are you writing a new album?
Well, yeah, I answer this question all the time in interviews, right? So Jimmy and I wrote what could be half or more of Wildstreet 4 or whatever the next release would be. And let's be honest, the songs are good. Like they're all really good. Whether they are going to be the choice songs maybe in a year or so when we get ready to record another album, because you know what, we put out a pretty good album, so I think we should probably tour and support it for a little while.
Absolutely.
Kings of the World Tour is not just a clever name. We plan on going everywhere. So anyway, so the point is that where we are musically right now and where we will be in a year or in 6 months might not be the same place. So I don't want to make those decisions yet, but the songs are pretty good. So we'll see. I also during the pandemic, I did a few collaborations, which I talked about. Minefield. I did something with Ghost of Sunset, another band on Golden Robot Records, and I have a song coming out with another singer and Bliss My Heart on July 23rd. And the other guys have been working on their own things. So there's lots of music. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You got to keep busy. Lots of bands doing the multiple band things. It's just now that touring kicks up, you're like, okay, I can't tour on all of them.
That's true. That's true.
So the new album is 3. It's out now. It's on Golden Robot Records. It is a great album. I've listened to it.
Thank you.
I like it. A little bit of everything in there, not just the whole glam thing. That's all the questions I have for you today. I appreciate you taking the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to find Wildstreet on social networks, you can go on Facebook, we're Wildstreet NYC. On Twitter, we're Wildstreet. On Instagram, Wildstreet Official. On YouTube, we are Wildstreet. And if you type Wildstreet anywhere, you'll probably see a picture of the band, and you'll know you're in the right place.
That's the truth.